Greetings! Today I want to prepare the Coca-Cola wine ready for the taste test. And for this taste test I want to spice things up slightly. So I'm not only going to be bottling the wine into wine bottles, but I'm also going to carbonate it into Grolsch beer bottles, because I want to see if I can replicate that sparkly Coca-Cola Coke in a beer bottle and have it as an alcoholic Coke. I think it will work really well. So all I need to do now is rack the Coca-Cola wine into both wine bottles and Grolsch beer bottles, and hopefully it will carbonate and become that fizzy Coca-Cola that so many of you love, but only with that alcohol content and oomph inside of it, like a vodka and Coke. Why not? So I'm going to get on and do this now. Now, with the Coca-Cola wine into both the wine bottles and the beer bottles, there's only one thing left to do before we set it aside before the taste test, and that is to carbonate it. So we will be putting a teaspoon of brown sugar into each of the beer bottles to get that carbonation going, then set it aside for 3, 4, 5 days, and then we'll come back into the taste room and do a taste test and compare whether I prefer Coca-Cola wine or Coca-Cola fizzy Coca-Cola alcoholic Coca-Cola drink. So I'm going to shove in a teaspoon into each of the beer bottles. Actually no, I'm not going to shove a teaspoon into each of the Coca-Cola bottles. I'm going to shove in a teaspoonful of sugar into each of the bottles because a teaspoon won't fit. Then seal, quick shake with the wrist, just to get that sugar slightly dissolved into the liquid, and then we're going to set them aside in a warm place for that 3, 4, 5 day period until they are all fully carbonated, ready for that taste test. And I don't know what I think I'm going to prefer, either the flat wine Coca-Cola or the alcoholic fizzy Coca-Cola. So I'm going to do a Wayne's World impression and jump into the future where we're going to have the taste test of the carbonated fizzy alcoholic Coca-Cola and also the flat wine. Awesome. So I'll see you in 3 or 4 days now. Have fun. I come from the past to the future to today with alcohol, both Coca-Cola fizzy and Coca-Cola wine flat. Which will I prefer? I have no idea. So let's pour a glass and decide the winner of the Coca-Cola Alcohol Award 2023. So the Coca-Cola wine has been getting over its bottle shock for the past 3-4 days, and if you want to call it beer, we'd call it Coke beer, but it's not really beer, it's just a carbonated drink. Has been carbonating for the past 3-4 days as well. Quiet. So I'm really, I am really looking forward to trying both of these and seeing what they're like. So I think we should do the honours. Yes. So I think we should do the honours and pour ourselves a glass and just see how they've turned out, to be honest. So come on, let's pour ourselves a glass and we'll do a taste test. Well, that had a lovely reassuring pop to it. I was hoping for a bit more carbonation, a bit of bubbles, but I didn't plan on making it to be carbonated when I actually made the wine. Going back would have made it better for that purpose, but anyway, taste test wise. It certainly is fizzy. It certainly is fizzy on the tongue and it carries that Coke taste. The carbonation is definitely there, but I could have done with leaving it a few more days just to fully carbonate in the bottle. It very much has a happy shopper flavour to it. So this is an alcoholic, low end, low range, bottom shelf El Cheapo Happy Shopper style Coke with a good hint of alcohol behind it. This does remind me of a cola shandy, so to speak. It's like, if you just look, it is a bit confusing on the tongue. It reminds me of, say, a lager tops or a shandy, but only made with cola. Because it's fizzy and has that artificial sweetness from the lemonade. A watered down beer as such with lemonade, but it's cola. So it's confusing, it's not right. It's not unpleasant, it certainly is drinkable. And just imagine, on a hot summer's day, if you are a Coke drinker, you would definitely have a few bottles of this in the afternoon, whilst you're cutting the grass, say. It does have an artificial flavour to it, which isn't unpleasant. You can just tell it's not a normal proper beer or wine. It's chemically produced, it's not made of any real substance apart from chemicals. You can tell, you can taste it. It's there, but it's not there, so to speak. It doesn't scream vodka in your coat, neither is it a wine. It doesn't scream vodka in your coat, and neither is it a cola because you can get that bite of alcohol. Anyway, on with the cola wine, and I'll see which I prefer. So, pour ourselves a wee glass. Now normally in my taste test reviews I like to talk about the colour and the aroma. It's cola colour, as you'd expect. Aroma? On the nose it's cola, as you'd expect. And there's not much else I can really say about that. That is actually quite different from this one. The bubbles do make it, the carbonation and the bubbles do make it a different entity in itself. But which do I prefer? Although, I know mentally in my head, cola's meant to be bubbly, and this is flat. I prefer this one. I'm not a fan of bubbly drinks anyway. But the flat one, the wine, is... I think the flavour is slightly more refined as such. It's... still has that chemical bite to it, but... you could get away with serving this to someone. Maybe not a friend, or maybe it's not someone you like, but you could get away with serving it to someone and not feeling too bad. Anyway, it works. It does produce a drinkable wine, because I will drink the rest of it, and the beer. I may not want to rush and reproduce the recipe, unless I try to improve it somehow, and I've got a few ideas. It does have a slight Calvados kick to it as well. You do get in the back of your nose those apple-ish undertones coming through, which I'm surprised about. I would not have thought cola would taste like apples. But there again, I could just be mistaken, and it could just be some E-number I'm picking up. So I would go and finish my 2 cola bottles, and whilst I do, why don't you check out the recipe for the cola wine up in this video by here, and I'll see you all very soon next week. Have fun now.